Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that, but my wife just gave me the cut sign. She said that's enough of that. Hello everybody and welcome to the Happy Ukrainian Wine Show. I'm Jim Bagheera and this is my episode 2 of reviewing some Canadian wines. Actually, last wine I did was a Malbec wine from Argentina, but today, and that's why I started with our national anthem, really important part of Canada. Number 2 important part of Canada, Montreal Canadiens, the best hockey team in the world. And we're going to talk about a Canadian wine today from the Okanagan Valley in BC. It's a Mission Hill Reserve Shiraz 2008. So it's a newer wine, 2008. It's a red wine. You can't see it on this bottle. I don't know how close you can get, but if you look, it'll say VQA. Anytime you see that on a Canadian bottle of wine, VQA means that the grapes are grown 100% in Canada. So, see, a little bit of tidbit there for you. Now you know why VQA is on some Canadian bottles. This wine was aged in oak and American barrels for 16 months. So, a little longer than the wine I think we had the other day, which was a year in I don't know, silver barrels or something, whatever it was. So, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I got my hair cut last week. Hope it looks a lot better. They said I looked a little shaggy in that one, so oh well, what to do. This wine actually won a silver medal in this year's Canadian Wine Festival. So, you know, it's a wine I've never tried. I've tried some Canadian wines. Actually, one of my favorite wines is from the Neek Meep Cellars in BC, and it's a really nice vintage wine. We'll try that another day. Jackson Triggs wine, Burrowing Owl, those are all BC wines. And actually, Canadian wines do very well on the global system, I guess. Ontario wines, really well known. We went on a tour of some wineries a few years ago, and I remember going to Eniskillen wineries, and it was a lot of fun. And if you ever get a chance to go to a winery, go. It's you see how the wine is stored, you see where the grapes are grown. It's a great thing to do. So, one thing I noticed when I picked up this bottle of wine, though, is that it had 14% alcohol, and that's pretty high for alcohol content in a wine bottle. Most of the wines I've had have been 11, 12, even 13, but 14 is pretty high. So we're going to give that and see if we can taste the difference in it. On the back it says here that the Mission Hill Family Estate Reserve wines are elegant and balanced, and a lot of Canadian wines are like that. So this week, I already put it, what's this called? Not a carafe. Can't remember what we call it now.
Decanter.
Oh, a decanter. Yeah, last time I said carafe and my son actually yelled at me. So there you go. I've actually had this for about half a day, decanting in this wine into this thing, and oh, it smells so good. So we're going to give this a little pour in here. I got the big monster glass again. I don't always drink out of this glass, but it's easier to see on a camera, I guess. And we'll give it a little swirl here. And the funny thing is I was reading an article the other day and they were talking about swirling your wine in glasses. So if you're really good at it, you can hold your glass and swirl it like this. For the people that aren't experienced, they can actually put it on the table and swirl. Now, what do you think of that? See, already you've learned 2 things today. So there you go. Nice bright red wine. And actually, it's a heavy wine, at least it seems to me, and I don't mean, oh, I can't lift this stupid thing. It's a heavy wine. It's very bright red. It's a Shiraz grape, 100% Shiraz, so that's good. We've actually heard some places it's called Shiraz. In the US, they have the same kind of grapes. They call them Syrah. So, que Syrah, Syrah. Whatever. Well, actually, and you know, I could always sing the other song about this too. Red, red wine. I like Neil Diamond. How about you? Anyways, okay, let's give this a sniff. Somebody said the other day with me sticking my nose in a glass was disgusting. I don't agree with that. There. Now, as soon as you put your nose in here, you can smell the raspberry in it. At least I can. And everybody's different. You may smell this and you may smell something totally different than I do. Everybody's palate, the taste on the tip of the tongue is different. So is their smell. Like I smell raspberries on this. I also smell white pepper. And I don't know if anybody's ever tried white pepper, but there is a white pepper. And that's what this has a smell of. But what really comes through on the nose, try it again, is it has a chocolatey smell. Cocoa, like if you take, make yourself a cup of cocoa, that's what this smells like. So we'll give it another swirl here, let it breathe a little bit, take a sniff, and here we go. Sorry about that. Winnipeg Jets. Well, I'll find a different cup next time. First thing I notice about this wine, it has a bite to it. Compared to that Malbec wine you did the other day, this one has a bite. I can feel it all the way in the back of my palate. It stings, and that's probably because of the 14% alcohol. But the taste, you can taste the fruit in it. So you can feel the bite of the alcohol, but boy, can you taste the fruit in this. And it tastes like berries, but if you notice a few seconds ago I said it smelled like cocoa. It tastes, and you can taste it on the back of your mouth, tastes just like chocolate. What's that light bar that I used to like? Three Musketeers. What a waste that bar was. $1 for the bar, and in 3 bites you could eat it. Compared to an Owen Henry that you had to chew on and had caramel and everything, and it was filling. But those were so light and fluffy. I really liked them. But anyways, that's what this tastes like. Smells chocolatey. Oh yeah, Milky Way and raspberries. Try that one day. Put a chocolate bar down. Put some raspberries on top of your chocolate bar and taste it. That's what this wine tastes like. I'm gonna have a sip. I'm gonna actually sip some of this. Oh, it is a very nice wine. Deal wise, I picked this up at the liquor mart, $22 for this bottle of wine. But again, here we're going to go talk about wines. The other day, the wine I had, the Malbec wine, $13. This one went up a bit, $22. Both excellent for their price point. When I go shopping, I don't go and spend $50, $60 on a bottle of wine unless I'm having some real important company. So whenever I tell you it's an expensive wine, you always think in this house that you're important company. I'll never tell you it's a $9 bottle of wine. Anyways, I spend between $10 and I'll spend between $25 on a bottle of wine. For the most part, most wines are pretty good. I'm going to review a couple wines in the next few weeks that I've had that haven't been that great. But anyways, $25 for this wine, it's a great value. I don't score wines. I don't know how they do it. And you watch all these wine programs and they say it's 88 points, it's 90 points. So let's use on our scale, we'll use a 1 to 10. So with 10 being the best. I'd probably give this a solid 7. The guys that review wines, they would probably give this about an 88 to a 90. I really like the flavor of it. I like the smell of it. And that bite that we were talking about, it doesn't last very long. So again, I don't know if it's because of the mixture of the fruit and everything, but really good. And it's a 2008, so it's a newer wine. This wine will age really good too. So you could leave it for a couple of years sitting and you'll notice. The longer I would have left it in the decanter, it would have, if I would have left it maybe for another day, you'd notice we could actually go back to it tomorrow and try it. The wine would probably be even smoother. Now, let's just talk about Canadian wines. There's a lot of Canadian wines around that are really good. We talked about some of the wines I've had. We've had a lot of Jackson Triggs wine. Jackson Triggs has lower end wines, which have been really good. and they have some higher end wines. The best thing to do is, when you're going shopping for these wines, is try different prices. Buy a $9 bottle of wine, buy a $25 bottle of wine, and try them over a couple of days. So you have the $9 bottle of wine, taste it, swirl it, smell it, see how that goes. Then a couple of days later or a few days later, try the $25 one. See if there's a big difference. You'll notice that some of the more expensive wines aren't that much better than the $10 bottle of wine. There's a lot of places in Winnipeg where you can get good wines that from other countries. You could go to Banville and Jones, which is on St. Mary's Road. Thinks it's really good. DeLuca's, Keniston Wine Market. So a lot of places you can go, and a lot of these places are really helpful for you. So if you go in there, ask them what you want. You want a fruity wine. You want something with a little bit of bite to it. You want something that maybe has an oaky taste to it. I'm not an oak fan. I call it Gary Vaynerchuk. We'll talk about him again because I wouldn't be doing this program if I didn't watch his. But he always called it the oak monster. At least he did something like that. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, enjoy your wine. We're going to do some more shows. We're going to actually have some guests appearing on here next week. I'm having actually a neighbor of mine come out. He's made his own wines. He actually buys the grapes, has a press, ages it, and he's going to tell you how it happens, and we're going to have a couple of his wines here for a sample. It's the only way I can get him over here to bring me any wines for free. But enjoy wine. Hope you like this program. We're going to work on an episode 3, and we're going to say Dai Bože, which means God bless in Ukrainian.